91X.
Scott Weiland, welcome back to Southern California. You spent tons of time down here, didn't you? You live in Coronado at one point.
Yes, I did for about 3 years. Beautiful place to live, very peaceful, and no one recognized me because it's mostly retired admirals,
Military guys, yeah,
and stuff.
You fit in with those retired military guys. Let's talk about the Wildabouts. This is how long you been doing this for a while for this new project?
Well, I've known these guys for a long time. They backed up just me as a solo artist on Happy and Galoshes, and toured with me even before that record came out. Just doing mostly 12-bar blues and like some covers.
So this band, would you be considered this like the solid entity at this point?
It is. It's like, I've watched a bunch of, old films and stuff and interviews and jams, like the Heartbreakers. And it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but they really operated as a band. That's what gave it that
right.
sound. It really was a band. And, the sound would change drastically if, especially if our bass player, Blackie, or Mr. Brown, if they were not present, because
right.
they have very unique style, as does Danny. Danny's the best drummer I've ever played with. We're halfway finished through the record. We have 6 songs done, complete already, and I haven't been this excited about an album since Core.
Nice.
It just feels like fun and that young energy and in love with music again.
And no holds barred, because you can do anything you want.
And we're friends. We're really close friends,
And I try to remember the first time I saw you was at Bodie's. When I first talked to you, it was at Bodie's. You had opened for Lucy's Fur Coat back in the day. Do you remember the?
Yeah.
And it was like really funny because at the time I didn't know. All I knew was the first single, Sex Type Thing.
Right.
Which to me, I think I explained to you. I just thought it was a little bit too in your face, aggro for what we were playing at 91X at the time. Back. When it first came out. Things
changed though within the next under a year.
Yeah, but the thing was, you came up to me and I said, you were like basically, can you play the single? And I was like, yeah. And you said, what about Plush? Because at that point you said, you were trying to turn me on to something else, because at that point you explained to me that you didn't want to be associated with the Metallica / Aussies of the world because your guy was Bowie. You said, you guys play Bowie on 91X, you play all the stuff that I like, I want to be on 91X because that was your... And at the time, I couldn't understand that because that first record sounded nothing to me like what you sound like now as an artist. You've actually eclipsed all of that stuff in a way that people go, oh yeah, now I get it. Do you feel the same thing? I mean, I don't want to say were you pigeonholed in the first, early STP days?
That there was such a huge movement that affected pop culture, affected politics, affected, it created the whole Generation X thing and
right.
Fashion, everything that, it doesn't matter if you're Smashing Pumpkins from Chicago or Nirvana from Seattle, Pearl Jam, or...
Right.
Rage Against the Machine in L.A., Tool in L.A., us in L.A., which we all got signed within about 3 months of each other.
Right.
It was just a movement that you felt part of, and I think everyone was like within that age range, that generation, was influenced by 70s rock like Black Sabbath and Zeppelin, but also there's that 60s kind of garage ethos, and the
right.
ideas behind that, but not too flowery, not too precious. So there's the punk rock,
Right. Which in essence, the Bowies of the world kind of started in the first place. He was the first. He was the first guy to really kind of push the barriers,
and also to change, not just to change, his appearance and evolve that way, but he evolved musically and production-wise, everything. I mean, as an artist, as a lyricist, That's why I looked to him as like the perfect, artist, the perfect model of what I would aspire to be.
Right. I think you've actually done it.
91X.